The room is still dim, not dark anymore, but not fully morning either. That soft, grey light that slips in before the world makes noise. Your bird shifts slightly. A feather moves, then another. A small adjustment of balance on the perch. Eye still. Closed. And then without warning one eye opens. Not fully. Just enough. There's a pause here that most people never notice. Because nothing is happening on the outside. But inside your bird's brain, everything is. Before it makes a sound. Before it stretches. Before it calls to you. It is scanning. Not the room. Not the cage. Not the lights. You. That first moment your bird sees you in the morning isn't casual. It isn't routine. It's not even emotional, at least not at first. It's biological. Because waking up, for a bird, is one of the most vulnerable moments that exists across millions of years of evolution. Dawn has always been dangerous. Predators move at dawn. Visibility is low. The body is slow. The brain is just coming online. So the very first thing the brain does is ask a question. Am I safe? And the answer to that question is decided in seconds, inside your bird's body. A stress hormone called corticosterone begins to rise the moment it wakes. This isn't panic, it's activation. A biological switch that prepares the body to respond. Heart rate subtly increases. Muscles become ready. Attention sharpens. At the same time, visual processing areas in the avian brain begin firing. Rapidly. Birds don't have a fusiform face area like humans do, but they have highly specialized visual recognition systems capable of identifying individuals with incredible precision. Studies from the University of Cambridge and the Max Planck Institute for Ornithology have shown that many bird species, especially parrots and corvids, can recognize specific faces and remember them long-term. So when your bird opens its eyes and looks at you, it isn't just seeing a human. It's matching. Comparing. Confirming. And all of this happens before a single sound is made. There's a brief window, seconds long, where the brain is deciding what state to enter next. Alert or calm. Guarded or relaxed. And this is where something subtle but powerful begins. If you're there, present or visible, your bird's brain begins to shift. The stress response doesn't disappear, but it softens, stabilizes, regulates. Because recognition of a trusted figure changes the entire trajectory of the nervous system. Researchers studying early development like the Harvard Center on the Developing Child describe a process called co-regulation. The idea is simple. One nervous system helps stabilize another. And while most of this research is done in humans, the principle carries across social species including birds. Because your bird doesn't just exist independently of you. Its internal state is shaped by you. Not constantly, not perfectly, but predictably. There's a moment right after recognition where behavior begins to emerge. A small head tilt, a blink, a subtle shift toward you. This is what's often called serve and return. Your bird serves a signal movement, attention, a soft sound. And if you respond, even slightly, you complete the loop. You return. Eye contact. A word. A step closer. And something important happens here. Not visibly. Not dramatically. But neurologically. Each completed loop strengthens. A pathway. A connection between safety and presence. Between you and regulation. Over time, these moments stack. Not in a dramatic, cinematic way, but quietly. Day after day. Morning after morning. 90 seconds at a time. And here's what's easy to miss. Your bird doesn't remember these moments the way you remember events. It doesn't store them as stories. It stores them as patterns. As expectations. As predictions about the world. If, over hundreds of mornings, the pattern is, I wake up, I see you, and nothing bad happens, then the brain begins to automate that expectation. Safety becomes the default. But if that window is inconsistent, if sometimes you're present, and sometimes you're not, if sometimes signals are returned, and sometimes they disappear into silence, the brain adapts differently. not in a dramatic or catastrophic way, but in a subtle shift toward vigilance, toward holding that initial alert state just a little longer. Studies on animal stress responses, including work from the University of Vienna, and comparative research inspired by Alan Shaw, suggest that early, repeated moments of attunement shape how the brain regulates stress over time. Not just in that moment, but across the lifespan. Because the brain is always asking, what usually happens next? And it builds itself around the answer. Now here's where most people misunderstand this completely. This isn't about perfection. Your bird does not need you to get this right every single morning. It doesn't need constant attention. It doesn't need exaggerated interaction. It needs something much simpler. Presence. Not performance. You being there, noticing, responding just enough. That's it. Even a glance back. Even a quiet acknowledgement. Even standing within view instead of across the room. Those small responses are enough to complete the loop. Enough to tell the brain, you're not alone in this moment. And when that message is repeated over and over again, it builds something surprisingly durable. Trust. Not the kind of trust that looks dramatic or obvious, but the kind that shows up later. In how quickly your bird settles. In how it responds to your voice. In how it chooses proximity without being forced. All of that begins here. In a moment most people rush past. The first 90 seconds. There's something almost invisible happening in that window. A quiet negotiation between biology and experience. Between ancient survival systems and present-day safety. And you are part of that equation. Not as an owner. Not even just as a caregiver. But as a reference point. A signal the brain uses to decide. How do I exist in the world today? So tomorrow morning, when your bird opens its eyes, and there's that brief pause before anything happens, just notice it. Notice the stillness. Notice the way it looks at you. And understand that moment isn't empty. It's forming something. And you don't need to do more. You just need to be there when it happens. When your bird first sees you in the morning, what does it do? Does it move closer, stay still, call out, or just watch? I'm curious what that first moment looks like for you.